Gardening is something which is slowly growing. More and more people are showing interest in gardening for various reasons, and one of the reasons being the desire to grow one's own food. Another reason could be that gardening is therapeutic. As we know, some people want therapy or something to relax their mind, and gardening is one of those things that can help. So with that being said, here are the tips to consider when you want to start gardening. As you start, you have to make sure that you choose the right plants, because one of the reasons why you don't have space could be that you are renting in an apartment, and the apartment, maybe you only have a balcony where you have your plants in or your veggies in, or you have built a very big house in your small plot that you have been allocated, or a plot that you have bought, or you have bought a house which has taken the whole space in your home, and you are left with only a little space to do your gardening and other things. So in such cases, you have to know the type of plants that you are going to grow, the properties of the plants that you are going to grow, the characteristics of the plant, how your plant grows, how your plants grow. There are varieties of the same plant. For example, tomatoes, we have dwarf tomatoes, we have indeterminate tomatoes. So indeterminate tomatoes, they will grow bigger and bigger, and they will not stop. They will continue producing and growing at the same time. But some dwarf variety will grow to a determined point, and they stop there, and they keep giving you tomatoes. So cherry tomatoes, you can buy small ones in containers, or dwarf varieties in containers. So even if you are staying in an apartment, you are up there in a balcony, so you can just put some, maybe 3 or 2 containers of your cherry tomatoes, depending on how much you want to harvest, and life goes on. You can also plant other things like peppers. They don't require very big space, they don't grow quite big. You can grow things like lettuces, you can grow things like strawberries. Those ones, you can grow things like blueberries. They can be grown in containers, and they can be grown in balconies. They can be grown in the ground if you are planting on ground. So you just have to have a small space in your corner there, and plant your plants there. That's one of the things that you can do. So don't let a small space demoralize you. The second point is that you should use a vertical space. Consider using a vertical space, because a vertical space is one of the most unused spaces in many households. Vertical gardening, I mean planting your plants going up along the walls. That could be your screen wall, your fences, your house. So choose a sunny side, or a sunny spot, or a sunny side, and what you can do is to buy some trellis, or you can build one. You can build one, a trellis, and put it by your wall, or hang it on the wall, and then you can grow things like cucumbers, melons, gem squash, nasturtiums, passion fruits. They can be grown on the wall. And also growing things like that on the wall will also shade your walls, and your house will be cooler, because they absorb all the sun. Those plants will absorb all the sun. They will reduce the amount of heat that goes into your walls. So you are basically insulating with something which is beneficial. You are insulating, and you are harvesting something to eat right there. So utilize vertical spaces. The other thing that you can do is to utilize other plants for your runner beans and peas and things like squashes to climb on. So you can plant those legumes near these plants, and they can utilize the stems of these other plants to go up along those stems. And by doing that, we know that legumes are nitrogen fixers. They will fix nitrogen into the soil, and they will utilize the stems of your plants to go up and produce up there. Plant some of your veggies, your plants, fruit trees in containers. Some things like citrus, they can be grown in containers. Pomegranate can be grown in containers. Even melons, they can be grown in containers. You can grow some herbs in containers. You can grow tomatoes and peppers in containers, because you may find that you are going to rent in a place where the whole area is paved. So utilize containers. Containers, we don't only mean the ones which are bought. Instead of buying, you can save money and get all the buckets from your friends and neighbors. Take some of your old buckets and plant some of your plants in. You can also pick some containers in landfills or in garbage containers in any area where people throw some stuff. Like here where I'm staying, we have people who will dump their waste from home, people who will dump some rubbish from their houses at the outskirts of the village, this site. So sometimes just go there and pick some of the things that I can utilize, including some sticks to release my plants here. People will just trim some of their plants and throw just everywhere. So some of those things are useful. I just go there and pick whatever that I can use. So by so doing, I'm recycling, I'm reusing. It's not enough to keep the environment clean, but I'm saving myself money, also reducing waste there. So you can use containers if you are in an area where you have balcony, or you want to plant some, you want to keep some of your plants by the verandas, or you keep some of your plants by the door, front door. So containers can help. But as we know, the front side of your house, you may want something which is appealing, so you may need to buy some of those. So containers come in different sizes. If you are going to buy, you may buy containers in various sizes. Know that some plants they have long roots, some plants have shallow roots, like strawberries, they have shallow roots. So you can just plant them in containers which are shallow containers. Things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, things which grow big, they will need maybe 60-liter buckets. They will need things like toes which are bigger, which are big, so that you don't limit them. They have ample space to grow their tubers inside. So choose plants carefully, choose containers carefully, looking at what you are supposed to grow, rather than wasting your potting mix to grow something which has shallow roots, because you will also need to water that container a lot. You will be wasting a lot of water watering that container for something which has shallow roots. So things which have shallow roots, plants which have shallow roots, they need constant moisture on the area at the top. But if you are planting something which has deep roots, you know that even if you skip some of the days without watering, there is still moisture at the bottom. You can take some days without watering. So another point is to consider soil quality, so that you provide your plants with nutrients. A good soil will provide good nutrients, but you will also need to fertilize the area with a good organic compost. You can use something like composted cow dung. So as a way of preparing your your raised bed or your garden bed or your containers, you have to put in some organic compost to provide your plants with nutrition. You can also use things like liquid fertilizers. I made a video about liquid fertilizer, how you can make your own liquid fertilizer, and you can also make manure tea to boost your plants with nutrition. So check your soil first. If you're going to plant on your ground, check your soil first if it's clay, sandy, or it's a rocky area, because some veggies will not grow well in a rocky area, like onions, like beetroots and carrots. They need loam soil. They need a soil which is loose. So if the soil is hard or clay, they will not grow very well in those areas. So in such areas you will need to maybe use containers, or you will need to build raised beds so that you can now take control of your soil and make it loose for your crops to grow very well. And also clay soil will hold a lot of water. Such types of soil will make it difficult for other plants to grow, which doesn't like a lot of moisture, as too much water can cause a root rot. To avoid all those things, you can use a potting mix, a professional potting mix. You just buy a professional potting mix, you put in containers and the raised beds, and then you plant your stuff. So ensure proper drainage in your containers if you are using containers. Also know how much water your plants need, because different plants have different water needs. Some will need to be watered once a week. Some will need to be watered on daily basis. So companion planting is one of the things that you can use to maximize the use of space. Also, another advantage of companion planting is that you can deter pests by planting different plants. Example is to plant tomatoes next to basil. Basil enhances the flavor of tomatoes, and marigold planted next to those two also will repel some pests. The other thing that can be grown next to those things is alliums like chives and onions, which also deters pests with their smell. So they keep pests away. They are beneficial to each other, and by doing that you are saving space. You are growing in between the rows. You are growing things like onions in between the rows of your tomatoes. In succession planting, you have to plan ahead. Succession meaning that your crops are going to go in succession, or the vegetables are going to go in succession. Meaning that things like radishes, they take only 28 days to be ready, or a month to be ready for harvest. As you harvest your radishes, you have to have another set or another batch which should be ready maybe in a week or two for the next harvest. So you plant them in succession, maybe 2 weeks apart. So by doing that, you save time and you save space. As you harvest your radishes, you put something in. You don't start with seeds. You transplant to that space. That's another way of saving your space and saving water. If you are doing that in containers, you will have containers which has plants all the time or veggies all the time. As you harvest, you put something in, you put some seedlings in. But if you don't start your own seedlings, you can buy from nurseries. As you harvest, you buy something from nurseries, you put in your pots or your containers, and then you fertilize the soil again. You re-fertilize your containers again with compost and liquid fertilizers. Okay, the other thing that you can do is to grow your own herbs. You can grow some herbs by the windowsill. If you have a big windowsill, you can grow your herbs in some containers and put them by the windowsill. The reason why I put them by the windowsill is for them to photosynthesize. You see, in the sun outside, they have to have a bit of sun or sunlight. You can grow them in, you can buy some containers, you can use ice cream containers to grow your herbs. You can do some vertical herb garden using something like a pallet. You can use something like hanging baskets to grow some herbs. With all this being said, the last tip now is to make sure that you mulch all the time when you are planting, and especially if you are staying in a very hot environment like here in Botswana. It's very hot these days. It's very hot and it's becoming drier and drier all the time. We are really struggling with keeping our soils moist. So a strategy to retain moisture into the soil, the main strategy is to mulch your gardens. If you want to know more about mulching, I've made a video focusing only on mulching. I have mentioned different types of mulch and how to get mulch and the advantages of all those mulches. So you can just click here and watch that video. Thank you very much for watching all the way through. That's it for now. So I hope that information will help you to make some nice decisions about gardening. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to help the growth of our channel. Hope to see you soon in another video.